How to create an organizational culture of leadership development. This is the 30, episode 173. Well, hello there, gang. Welcome to the 30. This is where we provide relevant information to you, our viewers and listeners, to help enhance your personal, professional, and spiritual lives. I am your host, Patrick. This is episode 173. I want to thank you for being here. Make sure that you like and share this broadcast with those that don't know that we are here. Also, do me a huge favor. Drop me a line, drop me a comment in the chat. Tell me where you are watching from. Would love to hear where you are and where you're viewing this broadcast from. If you're watching it in replay, make sure you put hashtag replay. So we want to make sure that we see where our viewers are and the number of viewers that we have. We're streaming live across 3 platforms. That's Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Today, we're going to continue our conversation on the last episode. I think it was the last 2 weeks. On the last 2 weeks of episodes, we've talked about how organizations can truly enhance their leadership training. So we talked about that, creating how you can. We give you 5 specifics. Actually, we give you 10 specific steps on how to create an organizational culture. We talked about how do organizations create and cultivate a culture, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. But last week and the week before, our topics was how organizations can identify and develop future leaders through training. We had a part 1 and we had a part 2 of it, and we discussed a number of steps that organizations can take to help them identify and develop future leaders through training. Now, one of those steps that we discussed was creating and cultivating a culture that values leadership development. And during our discussion, I outlined the reasons training and development was important to both the leaders and the organization. And you can go back on our YouTube channel at the Jackman Group LLC, and you can look at those 2 episodes, episode 171 and 172, and see exactly the 5 steps, 5 each week. So a total of 10 steps that we discuss as to how organizations can identify and develop future leaders through training. So today I was I met with our website developer, Charles, and I was telling him about episodes, and we were having a discussion around that in terms of what are some of the things that leaders can do and organizations can do in that area of development of their leaders through training. And one of the things that Charles brought to my attention, and it was an excellent question, very profound, I would say. And he says, "Well, Patrick, you give them the steps, but have you told them how to create and cultivate that culture?" And I said, "Wow, Charles, that's an excellent question because I talked about the steps, and I talked about organizational culture as one of those steps, but I never went into detail as to how leaders and organizations can create and cultivate the culture of leadership development." So, on this episode and next week, we're going to explore specific steps on how to create an organizational culture of leadership development. So, I'm going to peel back the layers and I'm going to talk about those things. I'm going to look at it from my experience. I'm going to also talk to you from what research has shown. So, we are going to really get into it. And I'm going to tell you specifically how if you are in charge of leadership development, if you're in charge of creating a culture within your organization, you don't want to miss this because we're going to go deep on this one. Towards the end of the show, in addition to going through and talking about how you can create an organizational culture of leadership development, I'm also going to talk about and unveil, which I'm excited about. I'm going to unveil the Jackman Group LLC's new leadership brand, new leadership training, new leadership coaching, individual and group. So I'm going to unveil that. This is the first time that we're going to that you will see it live if you're watching it live or in replay. We are about to launch it tomorrow. So you will get a sneak peek before anyone else sees it tomorrow. So stick around. You don't want to miss this. I'm excited about it because we've been working on it for probably about 6 to 8 months and finally is here. I'm going to give some shout outs to those that helped us create it and helped us along the way. But first, let's move into how can you, as a leader, as someone in charge of your organization or building culture, or even if you're in charge of learning development for your teams and your company, how can you create an organizational culture of leadership development? We know that creating an organizational culture of leadership development is a strategic initiative, and it helps to foster growth, innovation, and of course, long-term success. We know that if there's no culture of leadership development, we talked about this last week, organizations tend to develop employees, but don't necessarily invest in their leaders. They don't have a strategy. They don't have a vision for it, right? So we're going to talk about what can you do? What specifically can you do to help your organization, your organizational culture, to help drive that forward? So the first thing that I'm going to talk about, the first step as how organizations can go about creating culture, a culture of leadership development, is this. Number one, you first must determine what you like to accomplish. And you say, well, Patrick, yeah, that's pretty simple, elementary, right? But you'll be surprised how many organizations and leaders don't know what they would like to accomplish as it relates, number one, to learning development, but also leadership development. They don't understand that it has to be a culture You just don't wake up one day and says, well, let's have a leadership training. No, it has to be a strategic initiative. It has to be something that is driven from the top. So it has to be an innate culture within your company and organization that this is something that you want to do. So the first step is determining what would you like to accomplish? What is the goal? What is the vision? And then secondly, what is the reason for you doing it? So all that falls under step one. What is the goal? What is the vision? And what is the reason for you doing it? We call this, what is your desired state? What do you hope to accomplish, right? What is your desired state or your desired outcome? As a result of setting this in motion or creating a culture of leadership development, what do you hope to accomplish? What is your overall goal? And secondly, what is your reason for doing it? So that's the first step that you want to accomplish. So in doing so, the key area to consider is, does the goal align with your organization's values and long-term goals? Does what you're trying to accomplish, does the vision of having an organizational culture of leadership development, does that align with the organization's values and long-term goals? So those are things that you really want to consider. Determine what you'd like to accomplish first. What is your goal? What is your reason for it? And then in line with that, how does these goals or this goal align with your organization values and long-term goals? That's step number one. Step number two is really looking now, after you have what your goals are, what you hope to accomplish, is taking the next step and saying, okay, what's taking place now? So this is an assessment of your current culture. What's happening now? What is the current state of affairs? So that's where you need to really do an evaluation of the existing organizational culture and identify some of the strengths, some of the areas of opportunity, and what are some of those areas that needs to be beefed up, enhanced as it relates to leadership development. So number two is do an assessment and evaluate your current culture. Where are you now? Is there leadership development taking place now? Is there an existing culture? Was there an existing culture before you got there? What does it look like? Is it a stagnant culture or is it a growth culture? So these are things that you really need to dig into and do an assessment. That's why I said it's a strategic initiative. It's not a one-day event. This is something that you really have to think about. And it's a long-term initiative because it's building culture. Now, we know culture can come from many different ways. Culture can be organic, or culture could be one that starts and model from the top down. But whenever you decide to move forward in building this culture of leadership development, realizing that you have to determine, number one, where you want to go. Number two, what's taking place now. And number three is, do you have the buy-in? Do you have the buy-in from the top? Do you have the buy-in from the CEO, from the president, or maybe from the board? Do you have the buy-in of the person that's responsible? Or maybe you're the person that's responsible for creating and driving organizational culture in your company. If that's not you, the number three step is that you need to secure buy-in. You need to secure commitment and support from the top leaders. because it's critical. It's critical that senior leaders not only buy in and give their support and commitment, but they actively participate in whatever the culture you are looking to establish. That they're an active participants, and that they're advocating for the efforts that you are going to put in place. So it's easy to say, well, I would like us to develop this organizational culture of leadership development, but that's you. Do others see the importance? So buy-in from upper leadership, upper management, from your president, from your CEO, those that can say yes, and they also have the capacity and have that pen to sign off and say, let's go for it. But it's just not passive. They have to be active in driving it forward. They have to be active in terms of sending the message that I am supporting this initiative. I'm part of this initiative. I advocate for moving this forward. So that's number three. Tied to number three, or coming in at number four, is that it has to be not only bought in from you and the others, but it has to be a level of serious communication. So it has to be not serious, not just serious, but clear in terms of articulating exactly what you are endeavoring to do. Because you don't want your message to be muddy. It has to be clear. Here's the reason why we're doing this. Here is what we're trying to accomplish. Here are the goals. We're trying to accomplish. The goal is to accomplish, not trying. The goal is to accomplish an organizational culture of leadership development. And you need to also add the reasons why this is important. Why it's important for the leaders, and why it's important for the organization, and why it's important for everyone to have that culture, organizational culture of leadership development. So those are four. And I'm going to give you the last one here now is to, after you've done all these things, is you need to identify leadership competencies. Determine the key leadership competencies and skills that's required for success within your organization. What does it look like? What does success look like for key leaders within your organization? What competencies do you have now? Is that driving the organization forward? What skills are required in order to be successful within the organization? See, these competencies and skills may vary depending on the industry. So you need to really investigate. That's why I said it's not a one-day event. It's an intentional, strategic initiative that, when done effectively, it will drive long-term success within your organization. So your competencies and skills may vary according to the industry. The competencies may also vary depending on the size and your specific goals that you're looking to set forth. They may also vary whether your organization is a for-profit or if it's a non-profit or non-for-profit organization. The last step that I'm going to talk about today, and next week we'll come back with a part two. So the last step that I want to discuss on how organizations, right, how to create and cultivate an organizational culture of leadership development is this. Simple. Investigate the methods or method necessary to drive the culture forward. Well, what do you mean by that? Here it is. Do you have the internal resources? Because someone or someone's within your organization is going to have to drive it forward. And that may not be you. That may not be your boss, right? So someone's going to have to drive it forward. Although culture starts from the top and is modeled and moved down, but who's going to drive it forward? Do you have the internal resources? Or will you be outsourcing that in terms of driving the culture? So now you start to establish the culture, you create the culture, you have to drive it forward. Who's going to do that? Do you have the internal resources to do that? So those are some things that you need to investigate. Do you know what it will, what the cost will, what the investment is going to be? That's another part of investigating. What's the investment to create it and cultivate it and drive it forward? Are the resources, you're not just a talent in terms of resources to drive it, but the financial resources to drive it. So that's why it's important to have the commitment from your upper leaders to drive it forward, the commitment from a talent standpoint and from an investment standpoint. So are there internal resources in terms of people, talent that will drive it, or do you have to outsource? So these are just 5 steps that I want to talk with you about today, and we'll talk about more next week as we explore this topic, as we discuss this very important topic of how to create an organizational culture of leadership development. By addressing these steps, you truly can offer valuable guidance. If you are the sponsor on creating this, you can really drive this forward and bring this in terms of helping to foster growth and innovation and success within your organization. You are the key to drive this forward if that falls under your scope of work. If not, maybe you can see who's the person within the organization that is capable. If you do not, then of course you'll have to look outside. You'll have to look at outsource resources, and that's where we come in at the Jackman Group LLC, who are the producers of this program of the 30. We can partner with you to not only help you strategically in terms of getting this all together, but help you in the execution of the plan, execution in terms of the training, execution of the development, execution of coaching and mentoring. So if you're looking for, if you don't have the internal resources, or you have them but you're looking for an outside source to partner with you side by side with you, or you're looking for an outside source to come in and build this for you, we can help you do that. All you need to do is to get in touch with me. Touch base with me, and I'll be happy to help you do that. Shout out to a couple of people here. Shout out to Erica. Shout out to, hey, J-Rod. Thanks for watching. Shout out to Anthony McCullough. Big shout out to those that are watching and viewing. I hope this was helpful, right? I hope this was helpful. We want to partner with you. We want to partner with you on your leadership journey. So much so that what we've done over the last 6 months is that we decided to create our brand, what we call our leadership brand, our leadership development brand. And I want to share this with you now because I think it's pretty exciting. Before we end, I want to share what it looks like and some of the things that we will be doing going forward to help leaders. Now, you've heard me talk about impact. You've seen some things about impact. You've seen some of our advertising on our post about impact. So here it is. Here is our brand for leadership, for leaders, and it is called Impact Leaders. Impact Leaders. Exceptional starts here, right? So if you want to take your leadership acumen, your leadership skills, your leadership capacity or competencies to the next level, go from good to great to exceptional, this is where we are. This is our new brand, folks. First time that we've pushed it out there for everyone to see. Impact Leaders. Exceptional starts here. So we want to partner with you. If you are a good leader, a great leader, but you want to be an exceptional leader, contact us. Make sure that you are in contact with us. I'm going to give you our email address. I'm going to give you our phone number because we want to take you from where you are to where you want to go. So what are some of the other services? And here, this is the main brand, right? This is the main brand that we've created. And shout out to Mob Creative and Jennifer for creating this brand. Let me know what you think. Drop it in the chat. Do you like it? Do you think it's something that we can go to market with? Let us know. Let us know because we are about to launch it tomorrow. And here's some other pieces to it, right? Here's some other things that I like to share with you before we end the broadcast. So we're offering not just leadership training. We're offering a new brand for our leadership coaching, a new brand for both coaching individual as well as group. So this is our leadership training brand. This is our leadership training brand. Check this out. Wow, I'm excited about this. Jennifer of Mob Creative did a fantastic job on this. Impact Leaders Leadership Training. So when it comes to leadership training, this is our new branding. And each aspect of our offering, whether it's coaching, individual, or our group coaching, has a new brand associated with it. So you'll start to see this roll out, but I just wanted to give you a sneak peek at it before we launch it tomorrow. But let me know what your thoughts are. I would love to hear what your thoughts are on it. Let me see here if we can, I'll put up my email address, info@jackmangroup.llc.com, info@jackmangroup.llc.com. Let me know what your thoughts are about the brand. So those are two pieces of our leadership development brand, overall brand, and then our leadership development training. So Impact Leaders, or you can drop me if you don't want to email me and you prefer to call me. The number is 585-861-6828. That's our office number, 585-861-6828. So folks, that's about it for now. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for your continuous support as we move forward, as we try to establish our branding of helping leaders go from good to great to exceptional. We want to help you, help the organization. If you would like our help, if you'd like to partner with us, drop me a line, give me a call. We would love the opportunity to work with you and your teams. So folks, that's it. I want to thank you again. We'll see you next week. Make sure you're here next week. Share this broadcast and drop us a line, an email, or put something in the chat. Say, yes, I want to partner with the Jackman Group, and then we'll follow up with you. Until then, may God bless you and your family. See you next week. Peace.